I used to believe that pain was simply something I had to endure in silence. Then one quiet morning, while reading a single verse, everything shifted. What if the very habits you think are harmless are actually the ones fueling your joint pain every single day? Stay with me, because what I discovered changed not just how I move, but how I live. Arthritis is not just a diagnosis. It is a daily conversation between your body, your choices, and yes, even your spirit. I learned this the hard way, through stiff mornings, swollen knuckles, and nights where sleep felt impossible. But somewhere between the frustration and the flare-ups, I started noticing patterns. Certain actions made things worse. And certain truths, ancient ones, helped me see why. This is not a medical lecture. Think of it more as a journey, part physical, part spiritual, through the mistakes I made and the lessons that followed. Some of these lessons came from doctors. Others came from scripture, from stillness, from simply paying attention. Together, they reshaped how I care for my body. So let's talk about the actions that quietly worsen arthritis, and what a different, wiser path looks like. Here's where it gets interesting. The first mistake I made was ignoring rest entirely. I treated rest like weakness, like something only lazy people needed. I pushed through pain, worked through fatigue, and told myself that stopping was failure. But consider this ancient rhythm woven into creation itself, a rhythm of work and rest, 6 days of labor and 1 day set apart to restore. That principle is not outdated. Inflammation thrives on exhaustion. Joints that never get true recovery stay angry, swollen, and stiff. When I finally allowed myself real rest, not collapsing from burnout, but intentional stillness, my flare-up slowly began to ease. Now let's talk about the second habit that made everything worse, pushing through pain out of stubborn pride. I used to see pain as an obstacle to conquer rather than a signal to respect. I would grit my teeth, keep walking, keep lifting, keep ignoring the warning signs my body was sending. There is an old teaching about humility, about admitting weakness instead of masking it. I had to learn that listening to pain is not surrender. It is wisdom. Every time I forced my body past its limit, inflammation spiked, and recovery took twice as long. Humility, it turns out, is not just a spiritual virtue. It is also physically protective. But wait, Therese more, because diet played a bigger role than I ever expected. For years, I ate whatever was convenient, sugary snacks, processed meats, fried comfort food, without a single thought about consequences. My joints paid the price. There is a long tradition of viewing the body as something sacred, worth caring for rather than carelessly filling. Once I started treating meals as an act of stewardship rather than indulgence, reducing sugar, adding more vegetables, cutting back on processed foods, the swelling in my fingers noticeably decreased. Food, I realized, is not just fuel. It is either fighting inflammation or feeding it. Here's the critical part most people overlook: unforgiveness and bitterness. This might sound strange for a conversation about joints, but stress hormones triggered by resentment directly increase inflammatory markers in the body. I carried old grudges for years, replaying arguments, nursing wounds that never healed. There is a teaching that says to let go of bitterness before the sun sets, and I used to think that was purely about relationships. It's not. Chronic anger keeps your nervous system in a constant state of alert, and that state pours fuel on inflammation. When I finally released old resentments, truly let them go, my body responded before my heart even caught up. You might be wondering about isolation, and yes, that made things worse too. When pain flared, my instinct was to withdraw, cancel plans, avoid people, disappear into solitude. I told myself it was easier that way. But community was never meant to be optional. There is wisdom in gathering together, in bearing one another's burdens instead of carrying them alone. Isolation increases depression, and depression is strongly linked to worsening pain perception. Once I started staying connected, even on hard days, even just a short phone call or a slow walk with a friend, my mental state improved. And surprisingly, so did my physical resilience. Let's move to another overlooked mistake: complete inactivity disguised as rest. There is a difference between healthy rest and total stagnation. I used to think that staying still all day would protect my joints. Instead, it stiffened them further. There is ancient guidance praising diligence over idleness, not as pressure to overwork, but as encouragement toward steady, purposeful movement. Gentle stretching, short walks, and light mobility exercises kept my joints from locking up. Movement, done wisely, is medicine. Movement, avoided entirely, becomes a slow trap. Now here's something I didn't expect: chronic worry itself worsened my symptoms. I spent countless nights anxious about the future, replaying worst-case scenarios about my mobility, my independence, my quality of life. There is a well-known instruction to cast your anxiety onto something greater than yourself, rather than carrying it alone. Anxiety keeps cortisol elevated, and elevated cortisol keeps inflammation elevated too. Learning to release worry, through prayer, through journaling, through simply naming my fears out loud, calmed my nervous system in ways medication alone never fully achieved. Here's a mistake I'm almost embarrassed to admit: refusing help out of pride. I avoided doctors for years, convinced I could manage everything through willpower alone. I dismissed medical advice because accepting it felt like admitting defeat. There is timeless wisdom about seeking counsel, about how many advisors bring safety, while stubborn self-reliance often leads to downfall. Once I finally sought proper medical guidance, physical therapy, targeted treatment, dietary changes recommended by professionals, everything improved faster than years of stubborn self-management ever did. Asking for help was never weakness. It was strategy. So what does all of this add up to? Arthritis worsens through neglect, pride, poor diet, unresolved anger, isolation, inactivity, anxiety, and refusing support. Each of these actions seems small on its own. Together, they compound into daily suffering that feels impossible to escape. But here's the encouraging part. Every single one of these patterns can be reversed. Not overnight, not perfectly, but steadily, one choice at a time. I did not fix my arthritis by discovering some miracle cure. I improved my daily life by correcting the habits quietly making things worse. Rest became intentional instead of avoided. Pain became information instead of an enemy. Food became stewardship instead of indulgence. Forgiveness became medicine instead of merely a nice idea. Community became protection instead of a burden. Movement became gentle discipline instead of neglect. Worry became something to release instead of carry. And help became wisdom instead of weakness. If you're living with arthritis, or caring for someone who is, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not failing simply because your body hurts. But pay close attention to these patterns, because small daily choices truly do shape long-term outcomes. Healing rarely arrives as a single breakthrough. It arrives slowly, through consistent, humble adjustments made day after day. This journey taught me that ancient wisdom and modern medicine are not enemies. They work together, hand in hand, pointing toward the same truth, that your body deserves care, patience, and respect. Arthritis may not disappear completely, but how you treat your body every single day determines how much it fights back against you. So take these lessons seriously. Rest without guilt. Listen to pain instead of silencing it. Eat with intention. Release bitterness before it festers. Stay connected to people who support you. Move gently, but move. Release anxiety instead of hoarding it. And never let pride stop you from seeking real help. One day at a time, these small corrections add up to a life with far less pain and far more peace.